AJ, it's your time, buddy. It's your time to shine. We're talking the Atlanta Falcons here. They need a wide receiver. They need an edge rusher. They need an offensive
They
lineman
need
who's also
Jesus.
they need Jesus. They have the eighth pick. Maybe they can draft Jesus Christ out of Heaven University with the eighth pick overall, or maybe not. AJ,
Or do they need
we're
Divas?
starting off with you, buddy. I don't care where it is in this
Okay.
draft. You
Okay.
have to start this because it's your Atlanta Falcons. Who do they have to draft this year?
Debo Samuel. No, let me stop. All right. So the conversation around the number one pick, the round one pick, pick 8 with Garrett Wilson has been ad nauseum. So I decided to skip over that. There's a very good chance that's who it is. But I like the idea. Everyone's wanting him to get a QB, and I understand it, but I like the idea of getting this team set up one way or another, grabbing some weapons to help Mariota now. And once we get our guy in the next year or the year after, wherever it may be, he's got some weapons to help do him justice. One of those weapons comes from the running game. The arguable best running back in this draft, Kenneth Walker out of Michigan State. I love this guy. Led all of college football last year with 89 broken tackles on the season. 20 in one game. 20 broken tackles in one game. That's insane. He is great bouncing to the outside. You would imagine he could have done this in the SEC. He's great finding the hole at the middle. And once he gets by, he has got breakaway speed. Look at him shoot out like a cannon once he gets through that hole. Stud of a player. Great vision. He's compactful. He's powerful to handle the workload. The issue with him, and I'm okay with this to start because I don't want to run him into the ground the very first year, he is not about pass protection yet. That is one thing that he definitely needs to step his game up in and be willing to do. Even just show that you are willing to learn to be a pass protector because, as we know, unless they spend all of their first 3 or 4 picks on an offensive line, Marcus Mariota is going to be running for his life without a lot of help. But I still believe in getting this weapon, locking down a solid running game with him and Cordero Patterson. Mike Davis ain't it. And then we'll worry about that line and that defense as we get into the later rounds of the draft. Kenneth Walker, round 2, pick 43. 7, 8, 12, 3.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good pick. We talked about him a little bit on Monday, and Aaron even brought up that during the season, he said that he was arguably the best player in the nation. Bailey in the comments saying that he could have won the Heisman. That's a bit of a stretch, but he was definitely a very special talent this past year in college football. But AJ, you kind of, I see what you did there when you at the beginning. You said you're not going to go with Garrett Wilson at number 8. It's already been there, talked about whatever. It's beaten down, whatever. Well, guess who I'm going with at number 8? I'm going with Garrett Wilson. I'm taking the low-hanging fruit here because this is another one similar to what I did with the Lions pick at number 2. Falcons, don't overthink this. If Garrett Wilson is there, do not overthink this pick. He is arguably the best wide receiver in this draft. I saw this quote from somebody, from a scout. He said, "Track star speed, basketball hops." What kind of wide receiver? Why would anyone want to pass on a wide receiver that is as special as that? He's been the best receiver in college football against man coverage. That really jumps out to me a lot because he's going to be facing a lot of that in the pros. I mean, this guy is the best everywhere. Slot, outside, back-to-back 80-plus grades from PFF the past 2 years. Nothing more can be said about Garrett Wilson, but Atlanta, don't mess this up. This is your chance here. Do not mess this up. Do the right thing and take Garrett Wilson with the 8th pick overall.
I like that, Vinny. I do. I really like that pick, 8th overall. That's not the only receiver they need to take. I mean, that room is trash. Let me look at it right now. Auden Tate, sounds like something from your IRS. Demirier Bird, Zacchaeus, Hodge. Like, that's sick. That is disgusting. They need another one. So let me go ahead and look to the 3rd round, pick 74, and mix in some Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert, number 10 on my top 10 wide receivers of this class. I mean, this guy's a monster. South Alabama, what more can you say? Sure, he struggles with drops from time to time, but this guy is just silky smooth. He's got a little shimmy to him. And, look at his stats last year, 1,474 yards. I mean, at South Alabama, that's pretty darn impressive. You had 1,000 yards the year before. This dude had 700-plus yard games, an absolute monster, and he can be a great wide receiver. You can get him in round 3. That would be amazing. It'd be an absolute home run, especially if you get Garrett Wilson earlier. You got 2 solid receivers. Tolbert, he's kind of my sleeper this year. The way that I felt towards Josh Palmer last year, Curious to see how that one plays out. But, Tolbert, I really like him a lot. This guy is very good. I think he comes into that system. He hung up 143 yards on Tennessee last year. It's an SEC school.
You guys covered it, man. Naming all the weapons. I agree with Dylan 1,000%. You cannot go into the start of the season with Olamide Zaccheaus and Damiere Byrd and those guys as your starters. I think Garrett Wilson's a lock at number 8. I also think they take some weapons later in the draft. I do agree with you also, AJ. Kenneth Walker in the second round, but I think it's their second pick there. I do think they get their quarterback with their first pick. For me, this is when we get to the later part of the draft. Atlanta's got their offensive weapons. They've kind of rebuilt that side. I'm looking for their defense, a defense that lost their Aluakon. They're going to need some help at the linebacker position. And if I can find them in here, it's Darian Beavers. Darian Beavers from Cincinnati. We're talking about one of the better defenses in college football last year. He has a very, very good football IQ. He's able to identify play concepts and get to the ball quickly. He's 252 pounds, and he plays with all of it. He is physical. He has really long arms. And he's just a guy that will shed blocks, make tackles, and make plays on the defensive side of the football. And when you don't have anybody on defense outside of maybe an AJ Terrell, that's what you're looking for, a guy to come on defense and make an actual play. This is a guy who he's just physical. And when you're looking for somebody to kind of put a stamp and be a leader on that defense, I think you can do that with him. He's played some big time schools, being in the college football playoffs last year. So he has that experience. Go get some Darian Beavers. I have him going. Let's see where I have him going. 4th round. So 4th round, I'll pick 114. Again, these middle rounds, you're looking for value. If you can get a guy like this in the 4th round, you make that happen, and he can kind of be the center focal point of your defense going forward.
I will still hold out the pipe dream for Dennis Ritter to fall to 43, and then I'll agree
for
with
who?
that. Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, well, I told you that's what I have.
Yeah, I had him.
Except I have Matt Corral.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So the quarterback Atlanta's taking at 43. Kenneth Walker will come and take that second offensive spot. I think it's pick whatever that second round pick.
Do you think that and that's where I was going to go? Do you think Kenneth Walker can last to 58?
Let me tell you something. The running backs in this draft are going to fall. I seriously have a feel. You're going to go Breece Hall. You're going to go Kenneth Walker like second round. After that, that
I agree with. But these two guys are clear and cut to me.
But if you're these teams, what team is going to go up and get one? Like, what team is actually going to? Every
year we say the running backs are going to fall. Every year some team reaches for them early. It never fails.
Not every year. The best guys are going to be at the beginning of the second round.
What was it last year? I mean, you saw ETN and you saw Harris go in the 20s. But then after that, what I don't.
But those guys were projected to go in the first round, right?
Yeah,
we're talking about guys that were already. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There wasn't really a big time run on running backs after. Like, I mean, I don't recall if someone wants to look that up.
Michael Carter,
Yeah. So but those, that's what I'm saying. Those guys had a lot of hype coming out of college. The only guys really having hype coming out right now are Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker, and I have both of them going first round, mid or early to mid first or second round. After that, there's not a lot of people. I don't see teams moving up to get running backs this year because if you look at every team's situation, it's pretty good. There are very few teams that don't have a running back in a good situation right now that they or don't have another need to go and get first. And I think that's going to play a part. I think Houston gets theirs with Breece Hall. And then outside of that, Buffalo, maybe. Like they're talking because they don't have a lot of needs. Yeah. You know what I mean? But outside of that, I don't see a whole lot. And obviously Atlanta, being Mike Davis, can't play football anymore. They can use him on third down.
I think New Orleans is a need.
Mike Davis, Cordero Patterson, and Kenneth Walker. That's
New Orleans possibly does have a need at running back, but you can't use it. You have Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, you got to figure out this core here. But beyond him,
you can't. They got Mark Ingram still, and then Alvin Kamara. You cannot.
That one too, yeah. But
you cannot go into a season or into a draft with other significant needs that the Saints have and say, we have to go and get a running back in round 2 because we're worried about Alvin Kamara. Take one in the 4th or 5th round where they got Alvin Kamara, which was the 4th round, and then say, wait till the 4th, take James Cook, and you got the same thing. That's Alvin Kamara 2.0. It's the same guy.
I love me some James Cook. There. I love me some James Cook.
Last year, Javonte Williams went 35 overall. Trey Sermon went 88, and then Michael Carter in the 4th round at like 104.
So between
So
35 and 88.
So 4 backs. So 4 running backs within through the first 4 rounds.
5 total. 5 total once you get to Michael Carter in the 4th round. But like Javonte at 3, and then it was quiet until like pick 90. So pick 88. So
yeah. I think it's gonna be worse this year.
Would you be happy with those selections? Garrett Wilson, Kenneth Walker, Jalen Tolbert, and the Beeve.
Yeah, that's a good start to build. I mean, that's the thing. Unless you do one player or one position all the way through the draft, you can't really mess this up. You need just about everything. Now, I would want to slot an offensive lineman in there somewhere, but I don't think you should reach on one because we clearly aren't developing these guys at the speed we need to. So if you can get playmakers again to make the rest of the team around you, Joe Burrow could figure it out. Marcus Mariota can do something. He was a Heisman winner once upon a time. He was a second
Joe
overall.
Burrow can figure it out. Marcus Mariota can do something.
Yeah, he did something.
I do have him addressing the line in the 3rd round. I have him taking an O lineman and a D lineman in the 3rd round. They go heavy offense weapons, offensive line, defensive line. Then they get Darian Beavers in the 4th. And I think that's a good little start to building their self back up because we know it's going to take time.
Hopefully we can pay these rookies. We couldn't last year.
I like the Beeve in the 4th. I like that pick.